NASA's Curiosity rover just photographed something on Mars that made scientists do a double take. Sprawling across the slopes of a 3-mile-tall Martian mountain are massive rock formations that look exactly like giant spiderwebs. And when Curiosity zoomed in, those webs are covered in hundreds of tiny, round bumps that look disturbingly like spider eggs. The kicker? The scientists studying them openly admit they can't fully explain how they got there. So what are we actually looking at, and why does it matter? Let's set the scene. Since mid-2025, Curiosity has been crawling across one of the most bizarre landscapes it's ever encountered. These formations are called boxwork, networks of crisscrossing rocky ridges, each standing about 3 to 6 feet tall, with sandy dips between them. From ground level, they look like walls from some abandoned alien maze. But pull back and look at them from orbit, the way NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter first did back in 2006, and these ridges stretch out for up to 12 miles across the surface. They look exactly like enormous spiderwebs draped over the planet. These formations sit on the slopes of Mount Sharp, a colossal peak rising about 3.4 miles above the floor of Gale Crater. Curiosity has been climbing this mountain since 2014 because its layers act like a geological history book. Older rock at the bottom, younger rock toward the top. Each layer tells a different chapter of Mars's story. Now here's where it gets wild. On February 23, 2026, NASA dropped 2 new close-up images from Curiosity. One photo, taken back in September 2025, shows a sweeping ground-level view of these ridges. Beautiful, but expected. The second photo, though, captured in August 2025 using Curiosity's hand lens camera, revealed something nobody had seen before. The surface of these ridges is peppered with tiny, pea-sized bumps, irregular little nodules clinging to the rock. They look like eggs stuck to a web, and scientists are genuinely puzzled. Tina Seeger, a planetary scientist at Rice University who's leading the boxwork investigation, said her team can't yet explain why these nodules show up where they do. Her best working theory? Maybe the ridges hardened first when minerals cemented the cracks, and then later rounds of groundwater deposited these little bumps on top. But that's still unconfirmed. So how did the boxwork itself form? Billions of years ago, when Mars was a much wetter world, groundwater seeped through fractures deep in the bedrock. That water left behind mineral deposits that essentially turned those cracks into reinforced walls. Over eons, brutal Martian winds sandblasted away the softer surrounding rock, but those mineral-hardened fractures held firm. What's left standing today are these incredible ridge networks. Here's the part that has researchers buzzing. Finding boxwork this high up on Mount Sharp means the ancient water table had to be significantly elevated. That implies water stuck around in this region far longer than anyone estimated from orbit alone. And longer-lasting water means a longer window where microbial life could have theoretically survived. As mission scientist Kirsten Sieback from Rice University pointed out, the underground environment that built these ridges, warm, with salty liquid water flowing through, is the kind of place where early Earth microbes could have thrived. And there's more. Curiosity has been drilling into these formations and analyzing samples with its onboard lab. X-ray analysis found clay minerals in the ridge tops and carbonate minerals in the hollows. A fourth sample was even put through a special wet chemistry process designed to detect organic compounds, carbon-based molecules that are fundamental building blocks of life. Now, to be absolutely clear, nobody is saying these structures are biological. The egg-like bumps are mineral formations, not actual eggs. But the conditions that created them? Those are exactly the kind of conditions astrobiologists look for when hunting for signs of ancient life. Oh, and getting these photos was no easy feat. This boxwork terrain is the hardest landscape Curiosity has navigated in its nearly 14 years on Mars. The rover has to balance along ridges barely wider than itself while avoiding slipping into sandy hollows. And it's doing all of this with a hole in one of its wheels that was first spotted in late 2024. As NASA engineer Ashley Stroop put it, there's always a solution. It just takes trying different paths. Curiosity is expected to leave the boxwork region sometime this month, but the data it collected here could reshape how we understand water on ancient Mars. If you want to stay in the loop on what it finds next, make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell on. And drop a comment. What do you think formed those nodules? I want to hear your theories.